The last line of defense. The gravity of Captain Maya Chen's situation pressed down on her shoulders as heavily as the acceleration forces during emergency maneuvers. Standing on the bridge of the HSS Vindication, she watched the holographic display with unblinking eyes. One by one, humanity's colony worlds winked from green to red as they fell to the Chronari Empire. Proxima Centauri has gone dark, Captain, reported Lieutenant Kovic, his voice flat with exhaustion. That's the 6th colony this month. Maya nodded, her jaw clenched tight. 3 years ago, humanity had made first contact with the Chronari, a species that controlled nearly a third of the Milky Way. Initial diplomatic overtures had seemed promising until the Empire's true intention became clear: total assimilation or annihilation of all sentient species. Status of Earth's defensive grid? Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. Chief Engineer Rosario looked up from her console. At 20% capacity and falling, the orbital platforms can't withstand another coordinated assault. The Vindication represented humanity's last, desperate gamble. While other ships in Earth's defense fleet followed conventional design principles, the Vindication was experimental in every sense of the word. Constructed in secret using reverse-engineered alien technology and theoretical physics that most scientists considered impossible, it was smaller than a standard destroyer, but packed with innovations that might just give humanity a fighting chance. All departments, report readiness, Maya ordered, straightening her back. One by one, her senior officers responded. Weapons, propulsion, shields, all systems operational, if untested under actual combat conditions. The Vindication's revolutionary quantum displacement drive remained theoretical until they activated it for the first time 3 days ago, barely escaping Earth as the Chronari fleet began its assault on the homeworld. "We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command," announced Communications Officer Park. "It's Admiral Hernandez." The Admiral's face appeared on the main view screen, the background behind him occasionally flickering with explosive flashes. His uniform was disheveled. A streak of blood dried across his forehead. "Captain Chen, this may be the last communication you receive from Earth Command," he said without preamble. "Our defense grid is failing. The Chronari have breached the lunar perimeter." Maya fought to keep her expression neutral. "Sir, request permission to return and assist." "Denied, Captain." Hernandez's voice was firm despite the chaos around him. "Your orders remain unchanged. The Vindication must survive. You carry technology the Chronari must never acquire, and possibly our only hope of eventual victory." Maya wanted to argue, to insist they couldn't abandon Earth, but the cold logic of their situation was undeniable. The Vindication couldn't save Earth alone. Not today. But perhaps it could save humanity's future. "Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down." Hernandez nodded grimly. "Intelligence suggests the Chronari Emperor himself is overseeing this campaign from his flagship, the Dominant Will. If you could somehow—" The transmission dissolved into static. "Signal lost," Park reported quietly. Maya took a deep breath. "Set course for the Horsehead Nebula. We'll use the ionized gas clouds for cover while we finalize our strategy." As the Vindication accelerated away from Earth, Maya retreated to her quarters to review what little intelligence they had on the Chronari Empire. Their warships relied on powerful energy weapons and seemingly impenetrable shields, overwhelming opponents through sheer firepower and numbers. No human vessel had ever survived direct engagement with even a minor Chronari warship, until now. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter." Dr. Elena Volkov, the ship's chief scientist, stepped inside. Her eyes were red-rimmed from lack of sleep, but they still burned with intensity. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data from our encounter with the Chronari scout vessels during our escape," she said. "I believe I've identified something significant." Maya gestured for her to continue. "The Chronari rely exclusively on energy-based weapons and defenses," Elena explained, displaying a schematic on Maya's terminal. Their shields are calibrated to dissipate and reflect energy attacks with remarkable efficiency, but they show unusual vulnerability to kinetic impacts. Kinetic weapons. Maya raised an eyebrow. You're suggesting we fight an advanced alien empire with bullets? Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. Essentially, yes, but not ordinary bullets. I'm proposing we modify our railguns to fire specially designed projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. The Chronari abandoned physical ammunition centuries ago. They have no defenses optimized against it. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt a spark of hope. How quickly can you implement these modifications? Engineering has already begun the work. We should be ready within 48 hours. Maya nodded. Good. And the quantum displacement drive? Chief Rosario has stabilized the phase oscillations. We can now execute precision jumps with 97% accuracy. The possibilities began to crystallize in Maya's mind. A ship that could appear and disappear at will, armed with weapons the enemy had no defense against. It wasn't much against an empire that controlled thousands of worlds, but it was something. Gather the senior officers, Maya ordered. I want a complete tactical analysis within 6 hours. 3 days later, the Vindication hovered at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. According to their intelligence, a Chronari patrol group consisting of 3 destroyers was scheduled to pass through the system, following up on their recent conquest. Patrol group detected, announced Lieutenant Wei from Tactical. 3 Chronari destroyers, Formation Epsilon. They're conducting standard sweep patterns. Maya stood from her command chair. Initiate quantum displacement. Take us 2,000 kilometers off their port flank. The stars blurred momentarily as the Vindication shifted partially out of normal spacetime, reappearing exactly where Maya had ordered. The Chronari ships, each nearly 5 times the size of the Vindication, continued their patrol pattern, completely unaware of the human vessel practically alongside them. They haven't detected us, Wei confirmed. Their sensor sweeps are passing right through our position. The phase-shifted hull is working perfectly, Elena observed with satisfaction. We're practically a ghost. Maya allowed herself a tight smile. Let's make sure they know we were here. Target the lead destroyer's propulsion systems. Fire when ready. The Vindication's newly modified railguns hummed as they charged. Unlike conventional weapons, these fired specially engineered projectiles at velocities approaching 20% of light speed. The kinetic energy alone would be devastating. Firing, Wei announced. 4 brilliant streaks launched from the Vindication, crossing the distance to the Chronari destroyer in milliseconds. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. The destroyer's engines exploded, sending the massive vessel into an uncontrolled spin. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull. The other 2 Chronari ships immediately went to alert status, their weapon systems charging. But they were firing at empty space. The Vindication had already disappeared, executing another quantum jump to a position above the Chronari formation. Second target acquired, Wei reported. Firing. The second destroyer suffered a similar fate, its command center disintegrating under the hypervelocity impact. The third Chronari vessel began executing evasive maneuvers, but it was too late. The Vindication's final shots severed its primary power conduits, leaving it dead in space. For a moment, stunned silence filled the Vindication's bridge. Then a cheer erupted from the crew. For the first time since the war began, humanity had won an engagement against the Chronari. Maya allowed the celebration for a few seconds before restoring order. This was just a patrol group, she reminded them. The real fleet is 1,000 times larger. But now we know we can hurt them, Lieutenant Kovic said, his voice filled with newfound confidence. Maya nodded. Yes, we can. And now we need to figure out how to hurt them where it matters most. Over the next few weeks, the Vindication struck again and again, appearing unexpectedly at Chronari outposts and supply lines before vanishing like a phantom. They never engaged in prolonged battles, instead executing precision strikes and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. After each attack, Maya made sure to broadcast a simple message on all frequencies. Humanity stands defiant. Word of the mysterious human ship spread through the Chronari Empire. Reports reached Maya through intercepted communications that the Emperor was furious, diverting significant resources to hunt down the troublesome vessel. "They're calling us the Ghost Ship," Park reported with a hint of pride after decoding the latest Chronari transmissions. "Imperial commanders are being executed for failing to capture us." Maya studied the strategic display in the Vindication's war room. The scattered dots represented confirmed Chronari fleet movements, and a pattern was emerging. "They're centralizing their command structure," she observed. "Multiple battle groups converging on Sector 7. Chief Tactical Officer Wee leaned forward. "That's not just any gathering, Captain. According to these signatures, that's the Emperor's personal armada, including the dominant will." Maya's eyes narrowed. "So the Emperor is taking personal command of the hunt." "It's a trap," Rosario warned. "They're trying to draw us out." "Of course it is," Maya agreed, "and we're going to spring it." She turned to her officers. "Begin preparations. We're about to take the fight directly to the Chronari Emperor himself." Turning the tide. The Imperial Armada of the Chronari Empire was an awesome sight, even on tactical displays. 150 capital ships arranged in perfect geometric formation, surrounded by swarms of support vessels and fighters. At its center floated the dominant will, a behemoth twice the size of any other vessel, its hull adorned with the gold and crimson markings of the Imperial House. Captain Maya Chen studied the formation from the safety of the Horsehead Nebula, where the Vindication had taken refuge to prepare for what might be their final mission. "Their formation is exactly as predicted," Lieutenant Wei reported. "The Emperor's arrogance works in our favor. He's arranged his fleet for ceremonial display rather than tactical advantage." Maya nodded. "And the weak point?" Dr. Elena Volkov highlighted a section of the tactical display. "Here, the command vessels are clustered in the center, surrounding the dominant will. Their formation creates periodic sensor gaps as they orbit the flagship. Those gaps will only be open for seconds at a time," Chief Engineer Rosario warned. "We'll need perfect timing with the quantum displacement drive." "Can you get us in?" Maya asked. Rosario exchanged glances with Dr. Volkov. "We've modified the drive coils to handle multiple rapid jumps, but there's a risk of cascade failure if we push too hard." "It's our only shot," Maya said firmly. "Make it work." The plan they had developed was audacious to the point of insanity. The Vindication would execute a series of precision jumps into the heart of the Chronari formation, deliver a crippling blow to the Emperor's flagship, and escape before the Armada could respond. If they succeeded, they might disrupt the Empire's command structure enough to give Earth and the remaining colonies a fighting chance. If they failed, humanity's last hope would be extinguished. Maya addressed the crew over the ship-wide communication system. "In 1 hour, we will engage the largest Imperial fleet ever assembled. The odds are against us, but remember, we're not fighting for glory or conquest. We're fighting for the survival of our species, for everyone we left behind on Earth, and the colonies." The Chronari believed themselves invincible. Today, we proved them wrong. As the Vindication approached the outer perimeter of the Imperial Armada, Maya felt a strange calm settle over her. They had come a long way from that desperate escape from Earth. Every engagement had taught them more about their enemy, refining their tactics and building their confidence. "Initiate stealth protocol," Maya ordered. "Quantum displacement on standby." The Vindication's revolutionary hull configuration shifted, bending light and energy around the vessel. To Chronari sensors, they would appear as nothing more than a minor gravitational anomaly, indistinguishable from the natural distortions of space. "First checkpoint reached," Navigator Liu announced. "No indication they've detected us." The Vindication slipped silently between massive Chronari warships, a ghost passing through a forest of giants. On the tactical display, the timer counted down to their first scheduled jump point. "Quantum displacement ready," Rosario reported. "Jump coordinates locked." Maya took a deep breath. Execute jump sequence alpha. The universe blurred around them as the Vindication executed its first quantum jump, materializing briefly between two Chronari cruisers before immediately jumping again. Each appearance lasted less than a second, just long enough to confuse Chronari sensors before vanishing to a new location. They're reacting, Wei reported as alarms began blaring throughout the enemy fleet, sensor sweeps increasing. They know something's there, but they can't get a lock. Maya watched the tactical display as the Vindication continued its dance through the Imperial formation, each jump bringing them closer to the center. Prepare kinetic batteries. Target packages ready. After the sixth jump, the Vindication appeared directly above the dominant will, so close that the massive flagship filled their viewports. Fire all batteries, Maya commanded. The modified railguns unleashed their full fury, specially designed projectiles accelerating to relativistic speeds before impacting precise points on the flagship's hull. Unlike their previous engagements, this wasn't about destruction. It was about surgical precision. The kinetic rounds punched through the flagship's shields as if they weren't there, destroying key command and control nodes that Elena had identified from intercepted Chronari schematics. Secondary explosions bloomed across the massive vessel's surface. Direct hits on all primary targets, Wei confirmed. Their main reactor is destabilizing. But the Chronari response was swift and furious. Energy beams from nearby vessels converged on the Vindication's position, and while most passed harmlessly through the space where the ship had been moments before, one scored a glancing hit. Shield integrity at 70%. Rosario shouted as the bridge shuddered. Jump drive is cycling. Evasive maneuvers, Maya ordered. Execute emergency jump pattern Delta. The Vindication vanished again, reappearing 2,000 kilometers away, only to jump again as Chronari weapons targeted their new position. The perfect formation of the Imperial Armada was dissolving into chaos as ships maneuvered to intercept the phantom attacker that appeared and disappeared at will. Through it all, the dominant will drifted at the center, its main systems crippled by the Vindication's precisely calculated attack. Emergency lighting flickered across its hull where brilliant Imperial illumination had shown moments before. The Emperor's ship is sending out distress signals, Communications Officer Park reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from his voice. They've lost primary power and life support is failing. Maya nodded grimly. Broadcast on all frequencies, standard message with an addition. The Chronari Emperor has fallen. Your invincible fleet is in disarray. This is just the beginning. The chaos among the Chronari fleet was growing. Without clear command from the flagship, individual captains were issuing contradictory orders. Some vessels were moving to protect the stricken dominant will, while others gave chase to censor ghosts, occasionally firing on each other in the confusion. Jump drive ready for final sequence, Rosario reported. But the coils are overheating. We might not get another chance after this. Make it count, Maya said. Target their secondary command vessels. The Vindication executed 3 more precision jumps, each time delivering devastating kinetic strikes to key vessels in the Chronari command structure. With each attack, the coordination of the Imperial fleet deteriorated further. After the final jump, alarms blared across the Vindication's bridge. Jump drive is offline, Rosario shouted. Coil temperature critical. Full power to conventional drives, Maya ordered without hesitation. Get us out of here. The Vindication accelerated away from the disorganized Chronari fleet. Its stealth systems, struggling to maintain coverage as power was diverted to engines and shields. Several Chronari vessels gave chase, but their formation was broken. Their coordination shattered. They're falling behind, Wei reported as the distance between the Vindication and its pursuers increased. Their targeting systems can't get a solid lock. When they were finally clear, Maya allowed herself to collapse back into her command chair. The bridge crew looked exhausted but triumphant. Damage report, she requested. Jump drive will require extensive repairs, Rosario replied. Hull integrity at 83%. Minor systems damaged throughout the ship, but nothing we can't fix. And the Chronari. Wei's grin was fierce as he studied the long-range sensors. Complete disarray, Captain. The dominant will is dead in space. At least 20 other major vessels heavily damaged. Their formation is completely broken. Communications Officer Park looked up from his station. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from across the sector. The Chronari fleet is withdrawing from Earth and 3 other colony systems. They're falling back to regroup. A moment of stunned silence fell over the bridge before Lieutenant Kovic spoke what everyone was thinking. We did it. We actually did it. Maya stood up, looking at each member of her crew. This isn't the end. The Chronari Empire still controls thousands of worlds. But today, we proved they can be beaten. Today, we gave humanity a chance. She walked to the main viewport, gazing at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, other species are suffering under Chronari rule. Other worlds have fallen as Earth nearly did. They need to know what happened here. She turned back to her crew, her eyes alight with purpose. Set course for the Arcturus system. There are resistance movements we need to contact. The Vindication was built to save humanity, but I think its purpose has grown larger now. As the Vindication accelerated toward its new destination, Maya knew their journey was just beginning. The ship that was meant to be humanity's last line of defense had become something more. A symbol of hope, not just for Earth, but for all those who suffered under the Chronari Empire's cruel dominion. The message they had broadcast would spread from world to world, system to system. Humanity stands defiant. The Empire can be defeated. The resistance has begun.